How's it going? Wooden Spoon Supercoach here, coming at you from bed because I still don't have access to my setup. It's been super busy lately, so I haven't been able to watch a whole lot of footy or do a whole lot of Supercoach stuff, but I've been crunching some numbers behind the scenes and I've got a bit of an origin plan coming up. And in doing this origin plan, I've realized that it actually might be quite easy to get through, but still it's worth preparing for. I think the first major buy is going to be the hardest, for me at least it is. And with my current squad, that's actually the only origin round that I am under strength. I only need to bring one player in. I'm pretty sure a Tino out for an AFB in would sort me out completely. If Tino does get picked to play origin, that is. So here you may have seen this already. It's just a ranking and shows all the teams that cover majors, minors. It's a very handy table to pick who you want to bring in and replace people for. So I'll leave a link to this down in the description. And then if we go underneath, some notes for each round. And then if we go further down, we have a little mock-up team for the round. So this is just how my team currently is. This will have to be changed every single time I make a trade, which is going to be a pain in the ass. But once it's all set out, it's just really nice to know that you know what direction you're going in and that you're prepared. So as you can see, round 12 is the tricky one. I've got 12 players available, but AFB and Fatino fixes that if he's selected. I will make a template of this and leave it in the description so you guys can do the same thing. It is a little bit of work, but if you're serious about this game, it's worth doing. So obviously all the ones shaded in red are the guys not playing. I've put in the obvious origin picks being Haas, Yo, Cleary, Munster, Ponga. I think he's getting it over Walsh so far. But May could also very well find his way into an origin team. I'm pretty sure he's eligible, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. So here we've got round 12. I have 12 players available, 13 if I do that thing with AFB. Round 13, 18 players available, so that's quite easy. Second major, 13 available, so as long as I don't make too many changes, I should be good for that round too. 16, 17 players available, and 18, 16 players available. And then 1916 as well. So I don't know whether it's going to be a bit of an easier origin period for everyone or if just how my squad structure is at the moment has made me very lucky with who's available for these games. So yeah, if you're interested, I'll leave a link to this in the description. Now we'll move over to here. I've updated this. It took a long time because I hadn't done it for 3 weeks. But we have a very clear best team and a very clear worst team. It's not close. Storm, averaging 20 Supercoach points per game against the next best, which is actually the Raiders. This data might seem obvious to you guys if you've watched all the games. I haven't, so I'm very surprised to see Raiders coming in at second for average Supercoach points scored per game. So Storm, the clear picks to target. I'm thinking an Eli Katoa would be really good. He doesn't play Origin. Maybe a Jerome Hughes. I think that he may have gotten another injury. I'm not 100% sure on that. Then if we filter by average negative Supercoach points, we can see that the Knights and Storm actually have quite good defense. And the teams to target are the Titans and the Eels. I think the Eels are more of a target, even though the Titans are letting in more Supercoach points. Because if we come over here and look at the Eels for and against, it's negative 123. So you'd think that would make them have a worse stat than the Titans here, but it is only a 10-point difference per game. So Eels, with the combination of that really high negative Supercoach points per game and their for and against, I think they're the ones to target. So I'll leave a link for this in the description as well. And I'm not going to bother updating the colors over here. If you've been watching the games, you should be aware of roughly where each team's ranked in difficulty. So I can't bother to do that because I'm going to have to redo it all for the origin period anyway, which is this one. I'll definitely fix this one up. The colors here are not accurate. So that's the updated tables. Now, if we come back over here, I just want to cover a couple of points with changing players. If I bring in AFB for Tino and Tino isn't selected, then we need to factor in all the games that Tino is going to play. Anytime you make a trade, it's going to affect all 6 of these templates here. So you need to do a lot of thinking and a lot of data entry if you're going to use this the way I'm using it. There may be a better way, but this is just how I do it. It's worked for me in the past. So say for instance, in round 12, you've got 11 players out and you want to bring in maybe a hooker. Let's just say, for example, Starling. You bring in Starling because he's available this round. You need to check all of these. So Starling for round 13, he will be available. Won't be available for 15. Will be available for 16. Will be available for 18. And won't be available for 19, but that's a minor buy. So probably not the best example there because the Raiders do have some pretty good Origin cover. But you just got to make sure that any decisions you make early in the Origin period, you need to calculate how it's going to affect all the rounds afterwards. It sounds obvious, but when there's so many different things to think about in the Origin period, there's always one or two little points that you miss, and they can hurt you. I think the best way to look at the Origin period this year is that people are going to think, oh, okay, it's a bit easier, we'll be able to go through it pretty easily, or you can go really aggressive and do some serious planning, bring in some big pod guns that other people might not have, or they're shuffling around just trying to get numbers. It's a period that you can really take advantage of and shoot ahead of everybody. Post-Origin is where it's a lot harder to move ranks, obviously, but if you can use it to shoot ahead and then you still have a decent amount of trades for the run home, you'll be in a very good spot. And that's what I'm doing. And from the start of the Origin period, that's where I like to start keeping track of how many trades I have left. I have managed to save 3 so far. I did a double save on round 2 and I saved 1 trade last week. I'm pretty sure I need to save, I think it's about 7 more trades, and then I'm able to max trade for the rest of the year, not including boosts. Cool, that's that. I'll leave links for those in the description if you want to fiddle around with them. For the group league, I can't access it here. I need my PC for that back at home. But I can say that there were a few hits. I think it was about $10 to $15. So we're getting up towards $200. And since I've been away and slacking on the videos a bit, I'm going to up the budget this week to $25. So I don't need to be able to access the group league file for everyone to put bets on and stuff. It's just going to be a bit of a pain in the ass when I get back to home and have to update everything. So $25 budget, bet whatever you want in the comments. And if it gets up, the money gets added to the prize pool, which is steadily increasing, which we like to see. Move over to my team now. I'm not going to go over teams lists because we'll be here all day. So I've dropped a fair bit, but with a pretty fucking shit score, I'm happy to still be in the top 1,000. We can still claw that back. I've had a couple of meh weeks and haven't dropped too far, so I can't really complain. Now, trades this week. I am thinking about going early on AFB and getting Tino out for him. But Tino still has a little bit of money to make, and it would really hurt to do that trade and then Tino doesn't get selected and ends up being one of the better options for Origin cover. So we need to be careful with that. I was tossing up between Munster and Pap for the captaincy. You can check in the messages in the group league. That hurts. That was the difference between me dropping to 800 and pushing up into the top 100, I think. So we got to make up for that one. And I'm thinking this could be another week I could save trades. I don't see any glaring issues in my team. Owen Paddy is becoming one, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about that. I think the players I'm going to be looking at getting out next are going to be Shiba with that break even. He could hit it. He's not going to drop too much if he doesn't. Who are they playing? The Wars in New Zealand. I'm not the biggest fan of that. So I might look at flipping him out. I do also have 200k in the bank, which makes trades very easy. And other than Sheba, it's probably time for Sandon to go pretty soon. Break even of 17 will give him one more week. Playing the Panthers again. I don't have to play him this week, so I'm not too worried about what he scores. He could make a little bit of cash. So yeah, I think I'm going to save trades this week. No point in making luxury trades when there isn't anyone that I'm desperate to get out of my team. And I'd be pretty happy to have 37 trades coming into round 8. I think that's pretty good. As for captains and vice captains, let's have a look at the draw on my phone. So, as for potential humpings, we've got the Dolphins against the Storm. So it could be back-to-back captains on Pappy, but does he do a huge score like that back-to-back? Maybe I stick with Munster. I don't know. That's on Friday night, so a couple of good VC options there. You could go Pappy, you could go Munster, you could go Latrell against Canterbury. They do have very good defence though, so that would be very, very potty. If you do have Latrell Mitchell, that is a pot in itself. So if he was to go 120 and you were to captain that, then that could push you ahead nicely. You could go Gutho against Manly. That is Manly at home. We're going to bounce back this week, so I wouldn't be doing that personally. Broncos against the Warriors. You could go Payne Haas if you wanted to be safe. He did have reduced minutes, or reduced output at least last week. No, he didn't. He scored 83. What am I talking about? I'm talking like I've been watching the games. Roosters versus the Panthers. I don't know if I can go anywhere near that. Cleary's been not super underwhelming, but for his standards, pretty fucking underwhelming. And he's down at 640k, which is ridiculous. If the Panthers don't get their shit together, he could be a really nice trade-in after Origin for nice and cheap. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be making too many moves around Cleary at the moment. I'm just hoping the Panthers can get their shit together, because I really don't want to sell Cleary for less than Olakau'atu. God. We've got the Sharks playing the Knights, so you could maybe look at a Nico or a Trindle. Hines is starting to worry me a bit, but he's just too valuable to have over Origin because he's probably not going to get picked. And when teams have all their stars taken out, maybe that's where we see Nico start to get back to those big tons. But I just, at this stage, I'm not that confident in that happening. And same goes with Ponga, man. He's been shitting the bed royally lately. Then we got Tigers versus Eels, Spoon Bowl rematch. Not too interested there. Unless you wanted to go a Terrell May as a captain, and then you can maybe go for a bit more of a ballsy VC earlier in the week. One thing I forgot to mention with this is, even for the games where some of the Origin guys may back up, I've just considered it like they won't back up. It's just better to err on the side of caution there. So realistically, there will be a few of these red cells that should be green throughout these weeks, but I'd rather overestimate the amount of players out than underestimate it. Beautiful. Let's have a look at who is topping the league. So we got Jet Speed Nathan at 75.80 total score. It's not showing me... Oh, overall rank 128. You're doing well, brother. You're sitting on the rank I was at a couple of weeks. That hurts. So Nathan, if you're watching this has been the best week so far to get a comment down if you're topping the league, because the budget's a lot bigger this week. I don't know if I mentioned, but because I've been away, I'll up it to $25. Which means, Nathan, you get $12.50 if you leave a comment. Make sure you say it's you so I know who you are. I think that'll do it, guys. Couple more weeks and I should be back at the setup. I didn't get a chance to get over. The renos are only going on through the week, so this weekend I might be able to get over there and film a proper video, proper round reaction, all that. But yeah, it's still going to be a bit dicey on the upload schedule for the next couple of weeks, but we'll get through it. Our league's coming 25th, guys. That's mad. Keep it going. Alrighty, ladies and gents, that is all. I'll do my best to get home on Sunday for a round reaction, and I'll update the group league and all that. There's a fair bit to do, though, so I can't promise anything. Thanks for watching this bootleg edition of Wooden Spoon Supercoach, and hopefully I'll see you on Sunday. Hooroo.